For 3 generations, Southern California's family-run Post Alarm has set a high bar in security, service, and growth. Here, the company's present leadership, siblings Rob and Gina Post, and her husband Anthony Franco, discuss a winning formula predicated on expert installation, monitoring, and armed patrol response. Be sure to subscribe to SSI's YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share, and leave comments. Or subscribe to SSI's Security Speaking podcast on Apple and Spotify. And leave us a review. Thank you. So why don't you all introduce yourselves? Let's start with Gina, since you're on my screen right now, and then work our way around and just give a real quick, brief background about yourselves.
Okay. Well, I'm Gina Post Franco. I'm a co-owner of Post Alarm with my brother, Rob. Back in the late 90s, I graduated from USC with a degree in business, and I was employed by Arthur Andersen's consulting arm, Accenture, where I worked with Fortune 500 companies to streamline their business processes. And at that time, our parents who owned Post Alarm were looking for a consultant, and I said, well, I'll just do it for free on the weekends. So it ended up turning into, well, why don't you come work for us full time? So the rest is history, and I've been with the company now for a little over 20 years. So that's my story.
Thank you. Rob?
So I'm Rob Post. I came back into the business in 2005. I obviously my whole life have been part of the business, being now I'm president and co-owner with Gina of Post Alarm. What Gina didn't tell you is that our dad wouldn't allow us to come right into the company after college. He wanted us to work elsewhere, and if we still wanted to, after 3 years, we could come in. So I graduated from USC with a degree in accounting and went into public accounting. And after 3 years, even though I enjoyed it, I was ready to come back to the business that I'd grown up learning how to install and doing all that. And he said, nope, you got to get your CPA license. So it took me a few more years after that, became a CPA, and then I came back into the company in 2005. And it's been a lot of fun growing the business with my sister, and then also with Anthony as well.
Thank you, Rob. And Anthony, you prefer that to Tony, I'm guessing?
Anthony. I would prefer Anthony. Yeah,
you got it.
For asking, definitely. My background isn't as colored. I think I had it a little more rough in that I didn't have to go to USC. I had to marry Gina.
Wait a minute, that's rough?
Her dad, Bill, who is my father-in-law, he took me to lunch. This was about 16 years ago, and he said, I can guarantee you, I know you like what you do, but I guarantee at some point you will be over here at the business, and it would behoove you to come in sooner than later. It took us about 2 or 3 days to make the decision. I've been here for 16 years, and I'm the VP of technology.
So with that, can you go a little deeper on, why the business was founded and, how it started out, and kind of in a nutshell, how it got to where it is today?
Okay, I'll answer that question. So our grandfather, Sam Post, was a police chief in Colorado, and he was offered a chief position in California. So he took that position, but in the transition of making it from Colorado to California, it was given to somebody else. So he had to kind of start from scratch. So he saw a need for commercial security and started gaining some clients from the commercial alarm standpoint. And then he backed that up with the patrol and the guard services. So he basically founded the company in 1956, and it was really post-patrol back then. And he maintained that for those years. And then in the late 60s, early 70s, he actually sold the patrol and the guard business, and he kept the alarm business. And so our father, Bill Post, actually took it over at that point because our grandfather, Sam, wanted to retire. So Grandpa knew it was in good hands. Dad took over the business, and really Dad and Mom are the ones that grew the business to what it is today. They added the residential, commercial, full security offerings, as well as they actually started our own in-house monitoring at that time. And then they also brought back patrol. So that's basically how it started. When my dad took over the company in the 70s, we only had 70 accounts. So, and it was only him as the employee at that point in time. So he really had to work hard and hustle, and he did a phenomenal job at growing our business to what it is today.
Was there anything, in your experience prior to what we've seen with the pandemic the past year that sort of prepared you in any way for what you've had to go through?
You're asking pre-pandemic, something that?
Yeah, I mean, like, was the recession or anything that kind of, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, I think just California has seen increases in crime, and that's been happening. We've seen that probably over the last 5 years, especially. So I think, having that increase in crime and trying to protect people stayed important to people even through the pandemic. So they weren't so, eager to cancel their security services. If nothing else, they actually wanted to add more services. It was just trying to get past that barrier of they didn't want us to be near them because of COVID. So making them feel comfortable, limiting the amount of exposure they had to us. So maybe just technicians, where the salesman could zoom into them, but then the technician knowing that they had the PPE equipment and all that on. But I would think that the crime rate probably helped us to get through the pandemic.
As you look at the business today, what would you say are maybe your top 3 priorities in making sure things go as you want them to go?
It's probably different for each of us. For me, it would be staffing. As we continue to grow, staffing is important to us, and to maintain that customer-centric, customer service type company we are. So we want to grow, but don't want to grow too fast where we can't have the infrastructure to take care of our customer that makes us who we are. So staffing is very important to us. Training is, the same thing. Training is important, and Zoom training it's enabled us to have more trainings because we can do it via Zoom. But you also there's something that's missed when you're doing training from Zoom, because you're not in a room together. You can't see. I could be actually on my computer doing emails and acting like I'm paying attention when I'm not. And there's not that interaction. So, over the last probably 6 months, we've finally been able to kind of meet more and do more trainings. And I think that's really helped, because training is huge for us in every department. We want to keep these guys up to date with training, and it'll only make them better and us better. And I don't know what my third would be. So,
well, probably I would say just constantly looking at the technology that's out there and staying fresh and providing our clients with really great technology, but that's really reliable. I mean, that's Anthony's role, and I'm sorry I'm talking over you, but good. I mean, his full-time, like that, what he does, we actually have an in-house Anthony that constantly is looking at what's out there. We don't want to keep our eyes just in this little tunnel and just move forward, but that it's good quality product. We test it in our own homes. We test it in our office. We don't release it to market until we've thoroughly tested it. And then, like what Rob said, then you build that technology on top of the appropriate infrastructure, and then appropriate training for our people. And I would say those are the 3 things, in my opinion, that help us, that we're looking at, that are going to help us to grow to the next level, really.
I agree. Those would be my 3.
When you talk about people and training, everyone always laments in this industry, it's so hard to find good talent and good people. Do you guys have any secret sauce for that?
Well, we can't tell you our secrets to it. We're always changing. We're always trying to find creative ways to get people. But, we do probably what everyone else does. We have the ads on Indeed and things like that. We blast it on social media. Our vehicles say now hiring. We do all of that stuff. We've done mailers. So we try everything. And, the last year and a half, it's been tough to staff up. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in interviews and applicants coming in right now, which is good, but no secret sauce. We just keep trying different things, and if let me know if you find out what the secret sauce is.
Please.
To what extent do you find that you're recruiting for personality or temperament versus having actual technical skills coming in?
I think attitude is huge for us. And one of our mentors in the industry had a saying that we've always kind of agreed, and thought about. And Gina, do you remember it? I'm probably going to butcher it.
With the attitude plus performance equals employment, that one?
Yeah. It basically, you can train and help with performance, but you can't train attitude. Like your attitude, and that's in personality. Then that's huge for us. Is we want people that are passionate about what they do, that are caring, that want to help, that are doing it for the right reasons, and that comes across to the customers and to the people you're working with.
Also, people that have great work ethic. That's really hard to find these days. And the people that really it's not what people see you do. It's like, how do you work when nobody's watching? And that's what truly says the character of that person. And it's really hard to find that in this culture. And when we find a person like that, we grab them. And maybe they might not have the skill set of the position that they're really hoping to apply for, but we'll work with them, we'll train them. And, we put a lot of money into training our people, even if they, if they might want to say they're interviewing for a patrol position, but they don't have all the qualifications, we'll work with them to get those qualifications if it's the right fit. We feel it's the right fit for them. And if they come to the company, but they have a great attitude and maybe we realize, this isn't the best role for you, we really work at keeping them in the company and helping them grow in the company and learning what they want and training them for maybe a different position in the company. So it's really about just helping people grow and feel involved and, training them. It's really important to us.
What facet of the business, whether it's installation service or monitoring or the guard, what part of that do you think is the most challenging to manage or operationally, and why?
I think every one of them has its challenges. I don't think one of them is more challenging than the other. It just depends on the season, what's going on in that department. But I think one of the things is having patrol, having your service and install, having your central monitoring station. It's like having three separate companies that's all being ran together as one. So I think that the challenge is having all of those and keeping that constant flow of communications between departments that we're all working seamlessly together. So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges, and it's really because we have all those departments.
Yeah, you can't keep them totally siloed. They got to be communicating, right? And especially during the pandemic, I mean, in some ways it's made better communications, in some ways it's making it harder, right?
Yeah. I think because of the pandemic and people being distanced and having to Zoom, it almost brought out where we might be missing or lacking in communication, and it's caused us to make some improvements that maybe we didn't see before the pandemic.
And to what extent do you standardize on product lines? Is that an area of emphasis?
Yeah. I mean, we've to try to change product, add too many product lines or switch product lines obviously takes a lot of time to train. Also, it can be a service nightmare, how many different products our service techs might have to go out to train on or to service. So we've tried to standardize, and, probably it's been 5 years ago, we've kind of standardized on, alarm.com. We think it's simple to use. It's intuitive. Intuitive. Their analytics are great on their cameras. It's all combined. So alarm.com was one. The JCI product line. So Qualsys, Neo with the PowerG encrypted sensors. So we've kind of standardized that. Then we have our standard on fire systems, fire panels.
I think one of the big deciding factors anytime you're going to switch product lines is to see who's remotely. How are you going to actually engage your alarm system remotely? So the back end, whether it was alarm.com or any other companies that were out there, we just felt so confident in them and the roadmap where they were going and just the ease of use and I guess the simple complexity, if you will, with just the forward thinking with the video and the analytics. But being able to give a client one app that would control everything, we kind of based our decision on who's going to be able to provide the best user experience on the back end. And then from there, we narrowed down our product line. It's been a really good decision for us over the past 6 or 7 years, the direction that we went, like Rob mentioned. But it was important for us to have that overall client, that good experience on the back end where they could do everything with a single app. And encryption is a big deal. So we were able to get into not only a great app that's easy to use, but all the product line that falls with us using that particular software, it's all encrypted. So that was very important to us as well.
And how has Post contended with the 3G sunset, particularly in light of the pandemic and getting on site and all that?
Yes, so we've been working on it right away when we found out the new sunset. So we're in a lot better shape than other companies because I hear how many they have left. So we're in good shape to finish it off. It's sending out letters. Obviously, at the beginning, we gave a nice, pretty big discount if they did it early on. And as time goes on, that discount gets less. And but we've been pretty good. People have been pretty open to letting us in their homes during the pandemic and to update this, to the LTE radio. So we don't have too many more left. No. So we're in good shape.
What extent are you on AT&T versus Verizon?
I'd say 90% of our accounts are Verizon. Just with the hills of Southern California, AT&T wasn't the best footprint.
Well, that turned out fortuitous for this particular situation.
Yes, it did.
During your 20 years or so in the business, to what extent have you seen technology and the guard response combining to help result in more apprehensions?
So up until I think us doing Night Shield, in order to combine the video with the guard service, it was costly. It was costly from what equipment you need in the central station. And then people were charging quite a huge monthly, and it made it so that only certain commercial companies could really even afford it. And so now that we've started it in the last 3 years, I have a file of how many captures we've gotten, and one of the things for us, a big thing that we're always seeing is, oh, my car was broken into, or a bike was stolen off my driveway, or all of these things that the alarm system couldn't do. Now with Night Shield, we can see that, and either the police or our patrol can get out there quickly. We have a video of it to send to them, and we caught a person stealing mail, and we had 3 different clients, all with Night Shield, and it kept going and being caught, so we could see which direction he was going, and we caught him and the backpack he tried to ditch with all the mail. So we're seeing a lot of captures with it. The police that we've taught, law enforcement loves it because we have an address, we have a description, and it really helps them know where the crime's happening or what to look for.
And so really, it comes down to over the 20 years, we didn't have the analytics like we have today. And that really kind of helps to whittle it down for us and to get it out there quickly to the responding party. But if it's our patrol, then it goes directly to them so they can actually see it as well. So it's the analytics that I think over the technology has advanced so much over 20 years that's really been a game changer.
Yeah, and I think, with our patrol, and we've had our patrol again for probably 30 years, and it's a deterrent and it works when we're patrolling, and we can see that. We have crime mapping showing that. But now with using these cameras, it's almost like having a guard at every single house. So the more people that have it, the better we can be at patrolling and being intentional of where to go or telling where the police to go. So it's really powerful. And the more people that have that system with us, the more powerful it becomes.
To what extent do you find that existing customers are upgrading and adding on to their, residential system to more connected devices, as Anthony mentioned, versus, new accounts, going for that stuff?
You want me to answer you?
If you want to start it, I definitely have something.
For me, when I see the leads, I would say maybe as much as 50% of our sales right now are existing customers wanting to upgrade into the new technology. But,
yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. There's something when you see, video has always been so crucial to the success of security, whether it's residential or commercial. But anytime you see a new product that's going to be faster, a little more proactive, the big difference is now we have the ability to send notifications, where before video was just passive. You had to know something happened. Now with instantaneous notifications, it really gives you a sense of what's going on in your property now. So that's definitely intriguing to people that just had traditional video systems that were just sitting. So, we've seen systems that we've installed a few years ago that have, the infrastructure, the wiring's Cat5, and it's a very easy transition into these new products. So it's definitely intriguing to the consumer to want to get into something that's going to heighten their security and make it a lot faster.
What have you found is the most effective messaging to make them aware of it and potentially, buy something else? Is it direct mail, email, social media, sales guys? What really works?
Well, we work with a really great marketing firm, and they're really on the up and up of, we're going to do this month or this month. But we do a lot of like social media. We do social media consistently. Direct mail is a tough one. Yeah, it's like a kind of hard to get a good bang for your buck on that. We haven't really seen a major increase in leads when we have done direct mail. A lot of it's word of mouth, and honestly, a lot of it's other people's advertising on the TV that they see, and they wonder if we have an offering like that. They go to our website, and we do. It's the marketing efforts are mostly, I would say, online at this point. We have done some billboards. We've tried a bunch of different things, and maybe all of that combined over the last 2 years has helped. But there isn't like one magic type of marketing that's really helped to get the word out. It's a combo of them.
Gina, you kind of mentioned it about others making, raising awareness with things that they do, and especially big tech and some of the, Rob had mentioned SimpliSafe and so forth. But let's just talk a little bit while we're brought it up on competition. What competitors concern you the most? Are they other local guys or the big nationals, or how do you generally look at the competitive landscape for Post?
It's interesting. Do you want me to answer that, or can I start it off?
You can do whatever you'd like.
You might say something different, but we don't, honestly, Scott, we don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about the competition. Of course, we keep them in our peripheral vision and we don't let them out of sight, but there's a lot that, we come to say, what are we good at and what do we want to bring to market? So, that's why we've come up with a lot of our own creative product and service offerings, because we weren't so focused on the competition, but yet what is the need that we can provide for our clients that isn't even out there? So we really focus on us a lot of the times, and don't get too caught up in that. So I wouldn't say there's one particular competitor that we're worried about. There's not. And the thing that, yes, we all offer very similar products and services, but we really focus internally on, let's offer really great service to back that up. And so we really work hard to make our service the best in class. And so if we are offering the same products, we are a little bit better in terms of our service. So that's my perspective. Rob might have, and Anthony might have a different perspective.
No, I was going to say the same thing. It's important to kind of know what your competition is doing a little bit, but really we're really focused on the needs of our customers, or what we think the needs are that maybe they don't even know about yet, but knowing what we see. So, and because of that, we have great relationships with a few vendors where we talk through where we want to go, what we're seeing, and they help work with us, which has allowed us to do Night Shield, for instance. So we have those relationships because they know we're innovative and they know that we're we're thinking about the future of where we want to go and where we think the customers are going to go.
So are you looking, at possibly launching other offerings that would, be kind of unique or, branded solely to Post?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that. He'll probably add to it, to the point too that it'd be so unique that we've talked about licensing it or franchising some of it and going into other states or areas possibly, because what we have to offer is so innovative and unique that it'd be easy for us to license or train someone on it and using our name or our service.
Yeah.
So you got some R&D going.
Definitely.
Always.
I think, and I know Rob and Gina feel the same, but video monitoring is definitely the future of security. There were a few major disruptors in the industry that came in and really changed the way that we viewed video and the need for instant notifications. In the whole birth of Night Shield, it's been so successful, but we look at where can we take it from here? This was something we were offering at night, but to be able to offer that type of a service during the day also is going to change a lot. Video monitoring as a whole is such a giant part of this industry that I think is not necessarily on everybody's radar, but it's all shifting that way. To be able to have smart video come into our central station is a big deal.
Okay.
You seem like a techie guy, and I love tech too. So I don't know if you saw this week, I happened to take in the Amazon new technology thing they did. And a couple of things that jumped out to me. One was this always on cam or something. It's a little drone that you have in your home, and you can access it through your smartphone and send it on patrols in your house. And they're supposed to have that available by the end of this year. And the other thing was an actual robot that it's called Astro that patrols the house and has a telescoping antenna camera that can actually look at different levels in the house. And I don't know if you're aware of those, but when you hear or see things like that, what does it make you think in terms of the future of this industry?
Well, I'm aware of drones. Drones have been not necessarily something we've been focused on ourselves to offer, but it's been on our radar for a couple of years. I've definitely heard of some very interesting drone projects where it's tied in with security, where on an alarm event it's deployed. Actual zones are mapped and through GPS coordinates to fly to that actual window that may have been broken or a sliding glass door, and tethered to the home network and doing home tours and all that. So I mean, the possibilities are definitely there. The technology is there. It's just a matter of actually having somebody incorporate that into the space that we're in.
And I think all that stuff's great, but you still have people that aren't on board. They love cameras, but cameras inside their house, there's still privacy. They're worried about that or things like that. But to us, it's why even wait? That's great to have the camera inside the house, but they're already inside the house when it's detected. Our thing is let's use this technology and the smarts that before they even get inside the house, they're already detected and something's going to happen.
So I know from my own history, I used to go to all the California alarm events when I was out in California, and I missed that. But Post was always very involved, and I believe you guys still are. Why is that? What do you derive out of it? And do you recommend others do the same?
I think it's important to be involved in the associations. And, what that does is it not only allows us as a company just to be on the up and up of the maybe new regulations coming down the pipe or some challenges coming down, but it helps us to really band together as companies to make our industry stronger. If we're all on the same page with, how we maintain what regulations or protocol or what we do, then it helps the industry as a whole be better. And I love our industry. It's unique. We're like one big family, and Rob and I have grown up in it. So anytime we go to an event, it's like a big family reunion for us. But, it's keeping those industry relationships healthy and alive, even though they're competitors. It's a healthy competition, and we want to see each other do well. And it's interesting. So I think the associations are really important as a whole for our industry, and it's really important that companies are involved in them, because it's we're not really, I know one of your questions was about the legislation coming down and how involved we are with that, but we really are not that involved at that level. But we do appreciate that our dues go towards helping to fight and promote legislation that is beneficial to our industry, that helps us thrive as a company and provide the great services for our clients. So I think they're very important. We've always believed in them. Our dad was one of the founding boards of one of them a long time. What was it? WBF? I'm going to get it wrong.
Yeah, WBFA.
Yeah. So dad was one of the founding members of that, and back in the day. And so, it's always been in our blood, and it's been part of it. And so we feel it's important.
And also having strong relationships with first responders and law enforcement, right?
Oh, that's huge. Yeah. And that's one thing that I really love the CAA does in our local chapters. They do this, they offer the scholarships and really help to give back to law enforcement and help to keep those communication lines really strong, because we have to work together in this day and age. Our industries have to work together.
What would you say are your top couple of challenges, if we haven't already covered it, when you look at the business and maybe looking a little toward 2022, what do you see as a real big challenge, and how are you looking to approach it?
Staffing.
I'd say staffing and increasing expenses. I mean, fuel costs is up. We don't want to increase our rates or have to do that. And so just trying to figure out with everything that everyone's going on with the pandemic, and people are struggling, how do we keep our rates the same, but still, dealing with, gas alone, and that's maybe being a little more creative on our routing to, with our drive time, things like that, being creative on how we're going to get the staff in here, who we're reaching out to get that. I'd say those are their two big.
And I know everyone's struggling with getting parts in a timely manner right now. That is so hard. And we're praying that starts to get better into 2022, because it does impact the business a lot.
Yeah, that's been a big struggle. And we have other alarm companies on the East Coast that are asking us, that we're friends with, like, hey, do you have this panel? I'm like, no, we're in the same boat. We're all trying to find parts. And that has been really difficult.
Yeah, it's been extremely, and it's covered from fire to, it's not just one particular product line. It's all over the board. It's extremely tough. For me, I would say continual training with the technology as it's evolving is extremely important, and making sure that, anytime we're going to carry a new product, everybody has to be trained. Anybody that's going to talk to a client on the phone, they need to know about it. We need to know how to install it and service it and talk about it and sell it and support it. So continual training, especially as the tech evolves, just making sure that we're getting it right, because like Rob mentioned, we're offering something that's extremely proactive, and it needs to work, and it needs to be configured correctly right out of the gate. So there's really no room for error in this. So to keep everybody continually trained and abreast to the latest best practices and what's going on in the field is extremely important.
Right. Well, so as you look to 2022, what would you most like to see happen?
Well, there's so much. I would really like to see more of an adoption of video monitoring, and I think it's just a matter of getting it out there and making the awareness, more people aware of what's possible, and that's the biggest thing. Is a lot of people aren't, they're not aware that these types of services exist. So to be able to get out there and show this, but like Gina mentioned, referrals, and we get a lot of our business from success from neighbors or somebody down the street that, like Rob mentioned, where we have a lot of captures of people. So the word of mouth, I would like to see the adoption of more smart video and video monitoring. That would be my focus.
I would have to say, we do a lot of big communities in certain parts of Los Angeles and start hoping to get more into Orange County. But, I really hope that are the offerings we are providing our clients start to really make a huge impact. I mean, they already do. We can drive crime out of a neighborhood, with our patrol. We do crime mapping, and it's astonishing. And it's like, I really just pray that we can continue to offer these great services for our clients, because it really makes a big difference. And the more people that understand it and join on with us, the more we can actually really make an impact for an entire community. And I'm really hopeful that the more people learn about us and learn about what we can offer them, they will bring us on board, and we can really do something really good for them, bring back that peace of mind for their families. And that's what keeps me going. It's like, you hear those stories and people are like, I can sleep at night now. That's why we're doing this. That's really important.